Welcome back to Great Lakes Junction, everyone. Well, we're finishing off the upstairs of the house, the floors. So some time ago, we did the living room and dining room and the hallway out here. So we did a gray color in the living room, dining room, hallway. The two spare bedrooms on the other side of the hall I finished last weekend. So those are finished the same way now. Now we're going to do the master bedroom. And I was smart enough when I did them, when I put the transitions in the doorway from the hall to the carpet that was in them, I made sure I had the edge of one of these vinyl planks for the floors. I had the edge that I could snap into and continue on to carry on the floor, so I don't need transitions. And I did the same thing here. The board that's there in the doorway from the hallway has an edge on it that I can clip into and carry right on. We were fortunate enough to find the exact same flooring, same brand, the exact same stuff. So it'll just clip in, carry on. So I've pulled the transition out of that door and the transition out of this door to the ensuite. So it's time to start removing all of this baseboard trim around the room. We'll get that out. We'll cut the carpet up into small, manageable strips. We'll roll that up and we'll get this old carpet out. It's a large room, so there's lots of trim to remove. We've removed all of the small pieces of furniture in here. It's just the large pieces that are left. And those, there's nowhere else to put them. So we'll move them to one side of the room. And then as we need to, we'll move them back over to the other side. We're going to put a new 1/4 inch underlayment down before we put the vinyl flooring down. There are a number of squeaks in this room, so we've got some long 2.5 inch flooring screws. We'll see if we can get those in the right spots and pull the squeaks out. And then we'll start putting all the laminate down. Get the idea. So we'll go all the way around the room and do that. There is a cold air return vent behind that dresser. We'll remove that. And then there's that nasty tack strip stuff they use all the way around the perimeter to hold down carpeting. That's always a pain, but we'll take all that out. So those closet doors come off easy. The bifolds, they have spring-loaded pins in the top. Just pull the door up and let those pins go inside the door, and you can pull it out from the bottom. They're out of the way. So now there's brackets on the floor that the bottom pin sits in. We'll have to remove those brackets also. It's coming along good. This is what you start to end up with. So we've got most of the furniture moved to one side. So it was on this side. We started cutting the carpet out, pulling the under padding out, and as we got more empty space, just start shoving the furniture all over to one side of the room. So all we have left now, we'll take the mattresses, we'll move them over. Got a chair with some stuff piled on here, we'll move that over, and we can take out the last couple of strips of carpet and under padding. Unfortunately, and you always run into something doing a job, this closet we knew had been extended at some point before we bought this home. So you can see where this piece of carpet strip here is where the original wall was. And there's another one on the other side there. So they've extended this out to here. But what they didn't do was cut the carpet out when they built the walls. They built them right on top of the carpet. So I've had to cut the carpet all the way along. I still have to cut it on the inside of the closet to get it out of there yet. I don't know why anybody would do that. Once they figure out where the framing is going for the walls, cut the carpet out. This is just crazy that they did it this way. Never should have been done. Anyhow, we will continue to strip the carpet, and then we got to come back. There's areas where the under padding, there's a piece of under padding on a staple. So where they've had it stapled down, we got to come back and get all these staples out. We don't want those left there and start to create a bump underneath our new underlayment flooring we're putting down. We want to keep everything flat and level. The tack strip that holds the carpet in. So that tack strip runs around the entire perimeter of the room. That all has to come out. So we'll get it out, we'll get the staples out, we'll give everything a nice vacuum, move the furniture away from the doorway, and we'll start with our new underlayment. Oh, I have an inspector coming in. Hi, Cheeky. What do you think? Cheeky. What do you think, Cheeky? All right, we'll come back to this. So at this point in the project, we've now removed everything. All the tack strips gone. We've got all the staples, nails, everything's been removed that way. We've walked around as we were doing the room looking for the squeaky spots. These are 2.5-inch flooring screws. We're going to put these in every 2 or 3 inches. And we can tell from where the nails were from the contractor, that's where the floor joist is. We want to get into the floor joist with these. And sometimes you'll find they've missed the floor joist. So if you are putting one in, you get to the bottom and it spins real easy. You've missed the floor joist. So I will continue putting screws in to get rid of the noisy spots. And then we are ready to start the new 1/4-inch underlayment after that. That'll be our first sheet. We'll just put a small strip in the doorway to finish filling that in, and we'll continue on from there. I have the floor joists, just a pencil line across here where my floor joists are, because I want to make sure one row of my screws is going in on top of that floor joist. These ones are 1.25 inches, so they will just go through the original subfloor that's here, and the new 1/4 inch I'm putting down. They won't bite into that floor joist a lot, but I still want to make sure at least one row is in there a little bit. And that main row that I'm putting on top of the floor joist, I space these about 6 inches apart. So I have a row on this floor joist, a row on that floor joist. Now in between I do 2 rows. I'm a little more random with them. anywhere from 6 to 8 inches apart. We just don't want changes in the atmosphere, humidity, whatever, but I don't want this wood to buckle or anything like that. So it'll help keep that down in those areas between the floor joists. Depending on what application you may be doing and how strong or how thick your original subfloor is, the requirements for the spacing of the screws may be different. You can buy this 1/4 inch underlayment that's all laid out, nice neat lines and X's on it where you put your screws, and they have them spaced out about every 6 inches in both directions. But it is like $15 a sheet more. Now let me correct that. This is a 4x8 sheet. Those ones are 4x4 sheets, so they're half of this for size, and they're $15 a sheet more for half of this. And this is the exact same stuff. It's in a bigger sheet, no writing on it. Save yourself a ton of money. For the edge of the sheet, I like to get two fairly close to the edge, evenly spaced. Pulls that edge down nice and tight. Again, depending on the application you're doing, if you were putting this down and putting carpet back over it, maybe you're steam cleaning or something and some moisture gets down in, you want to make sure those edges are held down and they're not going to start to roll up or anything like that. Or maybe you have a spill or something like that. So that's all I do for the spacing of the screws. So the rest is keep going, cutting things to fit, moving the furniture, and when we get this all down, we'll be ready to start the laminate. All right, our subfloor or underlayment floor is down. The doorway. If you think that looks like a lot of screws, you're right. It is a lot of screws. So this is the 3rd bedroom now. That bucket was 4,000 screws when I bought it. It was full. There's the bottom of the bucket. And it turned out I knew I didn't need 4,000, but what they wanted for a package of 1,000, I would have needed 3 packages, and it was going to cost a lot more than that bucket of 4. So we went that way. So the last thing we have to do, we have to move that dresser, because that's the area we're going to start. And we're going to vacuum everything up just to make sure there's no little wood chips or anything after putting all these screws in. So I have a nice clean surface, and we'll start doing the laminate. Well, the floor's coming along good. You can see we've got that much done, about 5 feet of it or so. So we've moved a bunch of furniture over to that side now, so we have another strip here, maybe 6 feet wide. We can get that done. Move the rest of this furniture over and we'll finish that off. So it's going well. And we're down to the last 3 feet. So it's all laid down. The baseboard trim is not going to cover the gap. There's like a 1/2 inch gap there at that end, and some spots where it almost touches the wall, and the wall is just a little bit wavy. So when we put the 1/4 inch or when we put the baseboard trim on, which is a 1/4 inch thick, we'll come back with a small piece of 1/4 round trim and add to it, and that'll finish covering that up. Well, all we have left to do now is the closet, and this floor will be complete, other than putting the baseboard trims back up. So that's the project for now, is to finish off this closet and get the doors back on. Well, we have all the baseboard trim put back up now. The closet floor is all finished. Our last step now is going to be to get the brackets in there and get the doors back on that closet. Well, there we have it. So we have our closet doors back on. A couple more pieces of furniture to move around or replace in here. another job finished. Cross it off the list. Thank you very much for watching.